Hello everyone, I'm Karen. Today I'm going to do review an album that celebrates its 40th anniversary today. It's one of my favourite albums, and it's one that I'm sure most people will love, and that is Queen, the game, which came out on this day in 1980. So I'm going to go over a bit of history about the album, show you my copy of vinyl record, show you what other things I have with the related to the album, and give the whole album marking out of 10. So yeah, so Queen the Game was their 9th studio album, released on the 30th of June 1980. It was a big hit for Queen in both the US and the UK. It was the first for them which they started using synthesizers for this album, because they went through the whole of the 1970s, from their first album in 1973 through to through to Jazz in 1978, of not including synthesizer. I think every album, I think it said somewhere in the album, no synthesizers, and Queen pretty much did that throughout the 70s. But until 1980, when they made this album, they started to use synthesizers for the album. The album was recorded throughout various sessions between June 1979 and May of 1980. So the album kind of started in 1979, but it came out a month after it was complete. It was a big hit for Queen. I know it was a UK #1, and it was a big hit in America. It was sort of their last popular album in America in a way, and it was, yes, it's one of my favourite albums. So yeah, I'm going to go over my copies of the album. First of all, the cover artwork, which is brilliant. I just love the design of it. I mean, it's got a cool picture of the band, you know, Roger Taylor, John Deacon, Freddie Mercury and Brian May. It's just a really cool photo. I really like the design of it, and also the silver design. I think when you shine it up to a light, it looks really cool there. Queen looking cool in their leather jackets. The back, all the songs there. There's the inner sleeve, the lyrics. Now this is an original British pressing from 1980 on EMI. This label. Quite a plain label design, to be honest. But there we are. So yeah, there's the inner sleeve there. By this point in time, Freddie Mercury had grown a new trademark. He's now got a moustache. For this album, he's now grown a moustache, which later became his trademark. I've also got a CD of the album. This is the 2011 remaster, so 40th anniversary. It's the album there, the songs. Sort of similar design, to be honest. Just photos and information, like similar to the album. It was recorded in Munich, this album. So just nothing much to it. It'd be nice if they included some information, like maybe Roger Taylor and Brian talking about the making of the album, maybe. I've got a couple of singles from the album. First up, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, which was the first thing to come out from the game in 1979, with We Will Rock You from the Live Killers album, which came before this. Then we have Save Me, one of my favourite Queen songs. This was the second single from the album that came out in 1980. It was another hit. I think it got to number 11 in the UK as a single. I think Crazy Little Thing Called Love might have been a #1, I'm not too sure. And also Queen did a big tour to promote the album around the US and Europe, and even went into places like Brazil, Japan, and even like Brazil and Japan and places like that. And at the end of 81, they did a couple of concerts in Montreal, and they were filmed for this DVD, Queen Live in Montreal. This is taken from 2 concerts they did at the Montreal Forum in Montreal, Canada, and it's a brilliant concert. It's Queen at their peak, to be honest. Yeah, they do a lot of songs off the Game album, as well as songs from like their previous albums. So yeah, really great concert. Oh, and I love the inside artwork, which I feel like showing to you all. That's a great photo. And it even has a nice booklet with all sorts of cool photos. photos from the show. Not too nice. So yeah, really brilliant show. Also has a leaflet for the We Will Rock You musical. That's a musical about Queen, I think. Okay, now we're going to go over all of the album's tracks. So, the first track that opens up, well, it's pretty much the title track. It's called Play the Game. This is a Freddie Mercury composition, I think. Let's see, what does it say? Yeah, I think it's a Freddie Mercury clip. This is one written by Freddie, I think. Yep, Freddie Mercury. This is a Freddie Mercury composition, and this is a great way to open the album. It kind of starts off with like these synthy sounds that make it sound like some kind of spaceship. Then it gets into the song. So yeah, so good lyrics, you know. It's a good piano intro, and it's got a good music to it. And the video's pretty interesting as well, where Freddie debuted his new mustache look on that video. That was where he debuted his mustache. This was the third single from the album. Not too sure how. I don't think it did number 14. I think it went to number 14 in the UK. Or America, I'm not too sure. But I know it was the third single off the album. But yeah, it's a really great opener for the album. Then Dragon Attack. This is quite a good rocky filled song. It's got good, I think it's a good bass. And yeah, it's got good lyrics to it as well. It's got a good beat as well. And yeah, it's a really good song. One that was chosen for the B-side for the next song, which is Another One Bites the Dust. Dragon Attack was written by Brian. This one's Another One Bites the Dust is a John Deacon song. It was kind of when Queen started to become kind of disco-y, and this is kind of like a disco-style song. And it was the fourth single off the album. It was released as a suggestion of the pop star Michael Jackson, who was a big fan of Queen, and he'd often came to their concerts in Los Angeles. And so yeah, Michael Jackson was at the time, I think, the biggest disco star. And so yeah, I think Michael Jackson liked that song, so they released it as a single. And it did well as a single. It was number 7 in Britain. It was a big hit in America as well. And Roger Taylor said in an interview he remembered driving around America and somebody had Another One Bites the Dust in his car radio. He's like, "This is bad!" And Roger said, "Well, that must mean he must like it. Must mean it's good." So yeah, and it's a really great song. One of my favourite Queen songs, in fact. Another One Bites the Dust, written by John Deacon. It was before they kind of. It was one of their first sort of attempts at disco, and then the next album, Hot Space, was really disco orientated. But we'll talk about that in another video. Then Need Your Lovin' Tonight. I think this is another Freddie Mercury composition. It's one of my really good songs. It was released as a single, but never in Britain. Why, I don't know, because that is a really great song. Yeah, one of my favourites of the album. A good strong point of the album. Okay, we end side 1 with one of the big hits, and one of the first ones. First hits, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. This is like a kind of rock and roll kind of styled song. This picture's from kind of like that video shoot. This is apparently a song that inspired John Lennon to, you know, start making music again. So that's a great song. And then we start side 2 on with Rocket or Prime Jive, as it says in the bracket. This is Freddie kind of sings the first part of the song, and then Roger Taylor sings, I think, the rest, or then Freddie Rogers sort of sing it a bit. Yeah, it's a good rocky song. It's a good rocker song to start off side 2 for the album. Then Don't Try Suicide. One that I thought was a weak point in the album, and but now when I re-listen to it today, I think it's a good song. It's now grown on me a bit more. It's one I never used to particularly like. I thought it was good, but not a favourite of mine. But now I like it. It's a good song. It's just one that Freddie Mercury wrote. I think Rocket was one that Roger Taylor wrote. Then Sail Away Sweet Sister. This is a Brian May composition, one that Brian sings. It's a nice acoustic song, and it says on the in a sleeve, "To the sister I never had." So I'm not too sure what this song's all about, but it's a nice, good song, one that Brian sings, and Brian's got a nice voice when he sings it. Then Coming Soon, one that Freddie and Roger sang together. I think this one's also a Roger Taylor composition. And then the last track on the album is one of my favourite Queen songs, Save Me. This song was written by Brian May, but it's sung by Freddie after a friend of Brian's marriage had ended, and it's one of my favourite songs of the album. In my opinion, it was a good choice to release as a single, but I do think it should have maybe made higher than 11, because it's one of Queen's best, in my opinion. and loads of fans think the same. So yeah, Queen the game. This overall it gets a 10 out of 10. It's a great 10 out of 10 album, and it's my favourite Queen album. You know, of course, they made things like Bohemian Rhapsody in the past, and even Queen were just like one of these bands that experimented with different things. Like they made like the Bohemian Rhapsody. They like I think the foot stomp and clap and We Will Rock You. That is just, you know, Queen are one of those experimental bands, and then this was kind of the after this album. They then did the Flash Gordon soundtrack, which I don't know if it's really a Queen album, but it's still part of the Queen catalogue in a way. So but then afterwards things went downhill with the Hot Space album, but then in 1984 things picked up again with The Work. So the 80s were probably Queen's biggest decade. If the 70s were well, the 70s were kind of a starting point where they were making it big, but the 80s was probably their most when they were at their peak. Both 70s and 80s really. But yeah, Queen are one of those just distinctive bands and one of the best bands really. And so I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think of the album or Queen as a band. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again for the next time.